The major penalty kick happens every time a player suffers a foul inside the 15-yard area. The ball must be placed on the 15-yard line or just outside the 15-yard area in a position chosen by the kicker. There is no exact mark. It cannot be placed inside the 15-yard area. Upon authorization by the referee, the kicker executes the kick. No other player can be positioned inside the 15-yard area. If the ball rebounds back by hitting the goalpost or by the goalkeeper, and this major penalty is during a normal 80 minutes match due to a fault, this ball is still in game, and the kicker or any other player can play on the ball, either defending or attacking. Here in the diagram, you can see the ball placed on the 15-yard line and just outside the 15-yard area. Both are correct. In Leeway, there are two types of goals. The game goal worth 2 points, and the kick goal worth only 1 point. On the diagram, we can see examples of situations where a kick goal can be scored. A kick goal always starts from a stationary kick of any type, such as a corner kick, a direct kick, a major penalty kick, an indirect kick, a side kick in, or even a front kick. Once the ball is kicked and put back in game, if before entering the goal it is touched only one time or not touched at all by any player, this goal will be ruled as a kick goal, worth only 1 point. And what is common to all these goals is that there was very little team participation between the time the ball is put in game and when it enters the goal, as measured by the number of physical touches on the ball itself. Of note, if the ball, after being put back in game, touches the referee, the goalposts, or the goalkeeper, these touches do not count toward the ruling as game goal or kick goal because these are neutral elements in the match. If you look at the diagram, each of those numbers correspond to a different type of kick that can yield a kick goal. As you can see, this is a very unique situation, but surprisingly enough, both in Leeway as well as in football soccer, many goals are scored this way. Next, I will describe the game goal worth 2 points. The game goal is worth 2 points and is a much more common goal. In the game goal, the ball is in game, rolling and was touched 2 or more times by any player, even the opponent, before entering the goal. This is it. So the game goal happens in the large majority of situations and requires much more team participation, as demonstrated by the number of physical touches on the ball itself. So, as you can see, in Leeway, contrary to football soccer, the scoring system takes into consideration how the goal was scored, and not only that, a goal was scored. More team participation equals more points on the scoreboard. The offside rule in Leeway is based on the position of the attacker on the field. At the moment the ball is launched or passed to this attacker, the relationship between attackers and defenders is irrelevant. What is the landmarks of importance? It is the 5-yard line. If a player is outside the 5-yard area at the time the ball is launched, this player will never be in offside under any circumstance. Now, if the player receiving the ball is positioned inside the 5-yard area or even stepping on the 5-yard line, this player will be in offside. If you look at the diagram, the player is right on the 5-yard line, and because of that, this player is offside. There is one exception for the 5-yard area offside rule, which is if the ball itself is inside the 5-yard area and rolling in game, being carried by another player who passes the ball to an attacker. This attacker who received the ball is not in offside because the ball itself was already in game inside the 5-yard area. In all other situations, if the player is inside the 5-yard area, this player is offside. Of note, if any attacker, participating directly in the play or not, is offside, the whole play is void and stopped. Again, even if the player did not participate in the play, the game will be stopped and offside is ruled. Here is a diagram showing that all these players outside the 5-yard area, none of them are offside. It does not matter from there the ball is coming from. So, as you can see, in Leeway, contrary to what we see in football soccer, offside is actually a rare situation and the attacker only depend on themselves not to be in offside. In Leeway, defenders cannot make line and limit the vertical movement of attackers, or even cause attackers to be in offside by moving forward. This is where the name Leeway comes from. We will talk about this later in videos about dynamics in Leeway. This is the last aspect on the rules of Leeway. Here I am going to talk about the rules for goalkeepers. These rules deal with 2 aspects: safety of the goalkeepers and their time efficiency. As for safety, we know that goalkeepers get injured in 2 situations while playing. When in front of the goal, in physical contact with many other opponent players and even their own teammates. This situation is considerably reduced by the offside rule, in which any attacker, if present inside the 5-yard area, will be in offside. The other situation where goalkeepers get injured is when they go outside the 15-yard area to cover errors from defenders and dispute divided ball with attackers of the opponent team who are much more familiar with playing with their feet and the ball. For this reason, goalkeepers are not allowed to exit the 15-yard area to play as an outfield defender player, because they are not. Our incidence of injuries to goalkeepers are very low. If the goalkeeper must exit the 15-yard area to defend, it will be considered a technical infraction that the referee may rule as a direct kick from the 15-yard line with man barrier, or alternatively give advantage to the attacker if the play is favourable to the attacker. So the play may or may not be interrupted, depending on how the referee ruled the play. The other rules for goalkeepers deal with time efficiency as follows. Goalkeepers can only use hands on the ball inside the 5-yard while defending a kick towards their goal. Once they stand up with the ball in their hands, they will have 15 seconds to either put the ball on the ground and begin playing only with their feet, or simply throw the ball by hand to a teammate. Once the ball is put on the ground, it can never be picked up again by hands. Also, even if an opponent is the last one to touch the ball returned to the goalkeeper, they cannot use hands because the ball is already on the ground in game. In sum, hands on ball only inside the 5-yard and while defending the goal from a kick. Inside the 15-yard, goalkeepers can use their feet or other parts of their body, but not hands. Last, outside the 15 yards, no contact with the ball at all, as described above. Once the ball is put on the ground, there is no limit of 15 seconds to play, but while holding the ball inside the 5-yards area, the decision to throw or play with feet must be made in 15 seconds after standing with the ball.